to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
All right, that's bad. Okay. All right, important safety tip. Thanks, Egon.
Call it fate. Call it luck. Call it karma. I believe that everything happens for a reason. Come on, darling.
Hey guys, I'm Kevin.
I'm Jake.
And this is Movie Matters. We continue Legacy Month with Ghostbusters from 1984 and Ghostbusters Afterlife from 2021. Jake, I think you're a fan of Ghostbusters, are you not?
Yeah. And to be honest, this was one of the ones I was a little afraid to go back and watch for this show.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always that chance that, one of your childhood favorite movies won't hold up, under some critical scrutiny. But I'm glad to say that this is another one that made me appreciate the movie so much more, watching it critically. So
Interesting. I was the opposite.
Really?
I hate to say it, I know. Wild coming from me of all people. It just didn't click for me for some reason. I've seen this movie before, of course. I know it's a classic. I saw it as a kid. I honestly liked the second one better, Ghostbusters 2, better than the first one. I think it maybe just because I was a kid and I thought it was more fun and funny. Because this one kind of is for adults, but it's not for adults. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was just tired and not in a great mood. I just didn't care for it. I didn't care for it that much. And I know people are going to hate me for saying that. Because it's a classic.
I can't believe you're saying that.
I know. I can't believe I'm saying it either. Yeah, I don't know. Just the plot is kind of all over the place. And it's not that funny if you ask me. Bill Murray's kind of a creep in it. And,
yeah, he is.
Yeah. And Dan Aykroyd gets his dick sucked by a ghost. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching? So, yeah, I don't know. It's not bad. I don't know. I think I just need to watch it again, maybe? I don't know.
So you haven't watched this recently then?
No, I haven't watched it for a long time.
Okay.
Have you watched it somewhat recently?
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Okay.
This is one of those movies that I think me and my wife have watched around Halloween time because she can't do really scary stuff.
Okay.
So
makes sense. Well, I know a lot of people love this movie. A lot of people. It made a ton of money in the 80s. A ton of money. It was number one at the box office for the year. Domestic box office, that is. It was number 2 top grossing worldwide behind Beverly Hills Cop, which we mentioned in our Beverly Hills Cop review.
Mm-hmm.
According to IMDb, and there's conflicting reports, I was looking this up, it's 294 million worldwide. I think that might be from re-releases and stuff, but that is a lot of money for the 80s.
Yeah.
And it was a $30 million budget, so it grossed $14 million domestically in its opening weekend, which at the time was the biggest opening weekend gross for a non-sequel movie, surpassing Star Trek from '79 and E.T. from '82. So only beat him by $2 million. So this movie made a ton of money. It's literally it was at the time the highest grossing comedy up until Home Alone, which is interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, people loved this movie. Ivan Reitman directed it. I like his movies. I mean, he's done a handful of 80s movies. I really want to eventually do Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Have you seen that movie?
I don't think so.
It's so awesome. I know I should keep my reviews, my mini comments to myself, just because I want you to obviously go into some of these movies blind. But I love that movie. He's a good director. I like him. Yeah, he directs this pretty well. But again, in my opinion, it was just kind of all over the place. Maybe I was in a bad mood. Maybe I was just exhausted. But I watched it with my girlfriend, and we both had the same reaction. So that, we were both like, wow, this has not aged well for both of us at all. And, sometimes we were like, what is happening right now? We literally verbally say that out loud. So, again, I'm disappointed that I have this reaction because I didn't want to have this reaction. But yeah, I mean, dude, this movie was Columbia Pictures' highest-grossing film of all. It is Columbia Pictures' highest-grossing film of all time when adjusted for inflation. With inflation, it would be the 32nd highest-grossing movie of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. So, tons of money this movie made. What's crazy is there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that I was reading on it. And so Harold Ramis, according to Ivan Reitman and Harold Ramis, who plays Spangler, in the DVD commentary, Dan Aykroyd originally wrote a rough draft of the movie. The story was going to take place in the future with teams of Ghostbusters, which sounds awesome, if you ask me, that existed everywhere, kind of like a fire department or paramedics. And that kind of explained the whole, where they came up with the Ghostbusters headquarters being in, a firehouse. Mm-hmm. According to Reitman, such a film would have cost at least $300 million in '84, which is insane. And so they brought in Harold Ramis to rewrite Dan Aykroyd's script. And yeah, so they toned it down quite a bit. You can also tell this movie was initially going to be rated R, just especially with the cast. And they're all smoking cigarettes all the time. They're close to dropping pretty dropping swear words here and there. And yeah, it's interesting because the movie isn't marketed towards kids, but kids love this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's because of maybe the animated nature of the ghosts. That's why they like them. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's got that kind of childlike quality to it a little bit too. It's I mean this is kind of Dan Aykroyd's fantasy. If anybody doesn't know, Dan Aykroyd is a huge paranormal enthusiast.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's obsessed with ghosts and UFOs.
Really?
And all kinds of paranormal stuff. So this is, I think, his absolute dream fantasy project. And I think that kind of comes through in the way it's everything is kind of displayed in I can't think of the right word, but it comes across with that type of almost childhood fantasy kind of vibe in some ways.
Yeah, even their outfits and everything. Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, this movie is their outfits, their costumes are used. A lot of people dress up as them in for Halloween. The Ghostbusters theme song is very Halloween themed. Mm-hmm. It's probably almost, and I was talking with my girlfriend on this, the most recognized Halloween song. And I would almost argue this, Monster Mash, and then the Halloween theme song are the three most Halloween centric songs that are popular from like at least this movie and Halloween.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, the Ghostbusters song is like so instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just from like the opening beat, you can know that it's the Ghostbusters song. Like, it's it's so iconic.
So Ray Parker Jr. created the song, and according to an interview with him, he tried to create a song for the movie for like in 2 days. Like he had like no time to make this. At 4:30 a.m., he saw a commercial for a drain company that reminded him of a scene from the film. That commercial helped him coin the popular term, or the popular line, "Who you gonna call?" So he came up with that. And yeah, pretty interesting that like it's crazy when things in movies are like last minute or afterthought or just like rushed and they become iconic.
Yeah.
And that song obviously is iconic. So, I don't know. I always find that very, very interesting. Reading like the background and trivia and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sometimes pressure makes better product, you know?
Yeah. Procrastination breeds genius.
Yeah.
You could say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this... So, in the middle of the film's release, to keep interest going, which is crazy, again, I think this breeds to why the box office receipts were insane. Ivan Reitman ran a trailer that was basically the commercial from Ghostbusters of, like, who you gonna call? And, they replaced the number, the 555 number, with a 1-800 number that was actually working, and people would call and get a voicemail from the Ghostbusters, which is super cool. And it was basically like a voicemail saying, "Hi, we're out catching ghosts right now. Call us back later." And they apparently got 1,000 calls per hour, 24 hours a day, for several weeks.
Jeez.
Like, what the hell? That's crazy.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
nuts.
we kind of talk a little bit about marketing, in this podcast, just a little bit. We scratch the surface, and I mean that very lightly. Especially that's why we kind of show the trailers before all these episodes. I mean, Jake and I watch the full trailer, and we just kind of snippet a little bit of the trailer into each episode. But it's like that shows you marketing works for it, and I like that. I mean, we watched obviously both trailers for this and Afterlife. I like the trailer for Ghostbusters from '84. I thought it was good.
Yeah. And it's like, it's got that, like, the cheesy voiceover explanation of, like, what's going on, but, like, that was everything at that time. But, yeah, I mean, like, the trailer actually does a good job of, like, presenting everything and, like, making you want to watch the whole movie. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
which is what
definitely.
it's supposed to do.
Yeah. And I've been debating this with my friend Brandon lately. It's just like, he's like, I try not to watch movie trailers anymore because it just gives so much away, and it's better to go into a movie blind. Sorry, I'm wrestling my dog right now. She's licking me. She's laying down now. Good. Again, she always tries to make a cameo appearance in our episodes, so shout out to Sadie. Yeah, I always have these arguments with not necessarily argument. I do argue with my friend Brandon quite a bit. Shout out to Brandon. That's how our relationship works. But he was just kind of telling me, he's like, yeah, I try not to watch movie trailers anymore. And I don't know, I have to watch a movie. Even if I know I'm going to see it, I just have to watch the first trailer, and then I stay away. That's kind of my method. What's your method on that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like they've gotten better about not blowing everything in the trailer recently, in like maybe like the past 10 years. But like, yeah, I don't know. I try not to watch them
That's good.
just because on the off chance that they do, totally shit the bed and like ruin everything, It's like even like the new Captain America, movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, whatever. It's the movie's not out, so the only thing is the trailer. But in the trailer, they show the Red Hulk, which is like
Yeah.
a big deal. And
Yeah.
you'd think that would be like a huge reveal in the movie,
100%.
and they blew it. You know,
Yeah.
So like, that's the kind of stuff where I like to stay away from the trailers. Like, I'm trying not to even watch anything related to the Fantastic Four movie that's coming out because I want to actually watch it and not have anything ruined. And like, I already got like stupid memes of stuff, so I already know some like
the
things,
internet,
you
man.
know. So it's like, you know, it's kind of impossible now. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
but yeah, most of the time I try not to. But then I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I get really fucking excited, and
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for sure. I'm a movie nerd for sure. I mean, that's why we have this podcast, and that's why I look all this trivia up and everything, and that's why I love movies. I lost my train of thought for sure.
I will say though, if I'm super skeptical about a movie, I will watch the trailer
Yeah,
to help me decide if it's actually worth going to see.
yeah. So what I was going to say, I remembered my train of thought. I go on movie sites. I go on like a particular movie site daily, just because I look at movie news and I want to see what's coming out and what the updates are with certain actors getting into what movies, directors doing what movies. I do that daily. Literally, it's part of my routine. So I will see tidbits like, oh, the trailer's released now, and I'm like, sick. I gotta watch it. Like Jurassic World Rebirth. I just watched that trailer. I think it looks awesome. And I hope
I
it's
haven't
awesome.
seen that one yet.
All right, don't. And then that's a movie I'm for sure probably going to see. I mean, the last few Jurassic Worlds sucked ass, but again, that's just my opinion, people. Again, controversial. I mean, it's pretty known that the last two Jurassic Worlds kind of sucked.
Yeah,
So-
and the first one was good, but it was
First one was
also
great.
basically a shot-for-shot remake of the original. So
And again, nostalgia, and that's talk about Star Wars Force Awakens. I mean, that's
Yeah.
literally a new hope. So
yeah,
I know we're getting on a tangent here, and I like when we do that, but we'll get back to it. Speaking of tangents and making shit up, a lot of this movie is ad-libbed, which is pretty cool. 90% of Bill Murray's lines are all made up and ad-libbed. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, again, I kind of think he was a little bit of a creep, especially in the beginning where he's trying to hit on the student. I knew I was going to do something and I forgot to do it with my research. Bill Murray is a national treasure, but didn't he have a sexual assault, not necessarily sexual harassment issue, and he was doing this one movie with Lucy Liu or something, and Tom Haverford from Parks and Rec, I forget his name.
Aziz.
Yeah, Aziz, I'm sorry, thank you. They were doing a movie with him, and Bill Murray did something bad on it. And again, I'm doing this off memory. I'm not quoting anything. I could be wrong.
It's not ringing a bell for me.
And settled. Here we go. I've just Googled it. But he was doing some inappropriate things. So just knowing that, I kind of seeing him trying to mac on this college girl was a little creepy. Murray allegedly straddled and kissed a younger production assistant who interpreted his actions as entirely sexual. This is from RollingStone.com. So, he's definitely done some inappropriate things. This is just from news articles. There's always two sides to a story. I will always say that. But I don't know. Just and he apparently that they settled out of court for like $100,000. So, but yeah, pretty interesting. And like he's always hitting on Sigourney Weaver's character in this movie and like saying kind of weird things to her. And I think that's another reason the movie just didn't sit well with me. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Did you pick up on any of that or no? Well,
Yeah,
again, not knowing the lawsuit, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
kind of hinders things. But
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of those things. Like I feel like it's the same kind of thing with 16 Candles. You know, where it was like, oh, that's just like goofy '80s guy behavior, or whatever, and like it's not the same anymore.
yeah, times have changed for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I will say I don't think this is Bill Murray's best movie by far.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like, he is my least favorite character in the movie. And I think he kind of like, there's times where I feel like he maybe even like phoned it in a little bit, like in the way he like delivers his lines and stuff.
Yeah.
And like maybe that's because they did like 50 ad lib takes, and like that's just like number 48, and they're sick of doing the same scene over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's yeah, it is kind of hard because he's basically like the star of the movie.
I know.
So, but I mean, I don't know. I like Dan Aykroyd a lot in this. I like Harold Ramis a lot in this.
Yeah. Me too.
Rick Moranis is hilarious.
Rick Moranis is a national treasure. He retired from acting because his wife passed away, and he wanted to like help focus on family and raise his children.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's why he's not in like.
He hasn't been in movies for a very long time, right?
Yeah, I think like Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves was his last movie.
Yeah.
Which I love those. Those are like a guilty pleasure. Granted, I haven't seen those in a while. Have you seen those?
I haven't seen them in a very long time.
Those are cool. Those are just fun movies.
Yeah, we had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids on Laserdisc, so.
Classic. Yeah, that movie's awesome. And like, I remember, again, I'm going to get on a little tangent here, but like there's the ant, like the kids get shrunk, and there's the ant that they have, like Antony, it's not Ant. I think
it is.
It's like something like that. Maybe I know I'm saying that because that's also from Ant-Man with Paul Rudd.
Mm-hmm.
But they have like this ant, and the ant, like, spoiler alert, dies. And like I was like, no, like, and it's just like a minuscule insect. I just remember being like heartbroken as a kid over that. But that's what movies do. They evoke your emotions.
Yep.
Yeah, so the role originally of Bill Murray was written for John Belushi, but he died when Aykroyd was writing the script. Obviously, we know Aykroyd and Belushi were friends from obviously SNL and Blues Brothers they made. Yeah, I mean that could have been interesting seeing him in the role. There's a lot of cool practical effects in this movie, like the eggs cracking in Sigourney Weaver's apartment. I thought that was
cooking on the counter.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
super well done. Her opening the fridge and looking into the fridge was super cool. There's a lot of cool things about this movie, like things that are well done.
Even the way they blend the, like, I guess it's like claymation dogs with like the real people is like really well done too for 1980. What was it, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the dog animatronics are also really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that. So I do want to talk about that. Just like a quick little montage, and then Dan Aykroyd getting his pants undone. Yeah, I mean that scene I'll throw out a joke here and a pun. That scene blew me away. Just because I was like, what? Like, my girlfriend and I were like, what the fuck? Apparently, that sequence was originally much longer and wasn't meant to be a dream sequence. Yeah, so, very interesting. What do you think about that?
I think that's more just Dan Aykroyd fantasy.
Yeah. Jeez. It's very weird. So you've got the EPA, who's played by William Atherton, who is Thornburg from Die Hard.
Yeah.
There's always we talk about like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. There's like 6 degrees of Die Hard in all of our episodes because that's just like one of our favorite 80s movies. And like we're always relating it back to Die Hard, which is cool. And we did that with The Burbs recently. I mean, I love that. Any time I could talk about Die Hard is a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
He's always a villain, and he's always annoying as shit. And apparently, like, people hated him because of this movie. And I read something where he talks about getting like the marshmallow goo like splattered on him, spilled on him. They were putting they put like 75 pounds of shaving cream, which is meant to look like the marshmallow cream. And William Atherton was like, hey, like, is this safe? And the production team was like, oh, it's totally safe. Like, here, we'll put a stuntman in there and we'll show you how it's going to be. And they released the 75 pounds of shaving cream, and it like literally like knocked the fucking dude out. And they're like, oh, okay. So they lessened it in half and dropped it, and it was fine. But pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah, he's annoying in this. He plays a good villain. I like him. There's also another Die Hard alumni in this movie, and it's Al Powell.
Yeah. I was gonna say he's in the jail, right?
Yeah, Reginald Vell Johnson. He has like a very brief one-line cameo.
Yeah.
And obviously this movie came out prior to Die Hard. Yeah, there's cool effects. I mean, it was nominated for an Oscar for visual effects. It was nominated for one other Oscar. Let me see what it was.
Best original song.
Probably. Yeah, best music. Ray Parker Jr. for the song Ghostbusters. So, yeah, makes sense. It did not win either Oscar, but cool that it was nominated. So apparently, so speaking of Al Powell, Die Hard, the prison cop in this movie, Ghostbusters, that is, not Die Hard. That jail, they filmed at a prison that was reported to be haunted. And the dailies had scratches, so like the film dailies, like when the studio watches the tape from what was filmed for the day, there was scratches all over the film with no apparent physical cause because the jail was haunted. Pretty creepy.
Spooky.
Yeah. I like reading stuff. I mean, that's terrifying, but also cool. I mean, like, I like reading like that stuff. There's a lot of cool behind the scenes scary trivia like that for The Exorcist.
Yeah.
If you guys like that kind of stuff, check that out. Look into the behind the scenes on that. There's a lot of cool stuff. Then, again, the movie, the randomness of the movie and like how the plot was all over the place. Like the Pope just fucking shows up out of nowhere in this movie.
It's the Bishop of New York.
Is the Bishop of New York? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. Now I feel stupid. Yeah, like, my girlfriend and I were just like, what? Why is the Pope in this? I don't know. It's like so random. Yeah, so, I mean, I like the ending. I think the ending's cool. They cross streams, which is funny and kind of goofy, and comedic writing and childish writing. But overall, again, I don't know if I need to rewatch it another time. You
have to watch it again.
All right. I will. Not right away. I need a break from Ghostbusters because, I mean, is there anything else you want to say? Because I do want to move on to the next movie.
No, I think we covered it. Like, yeah, part of it for me is a little bit of nostalgia too.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, there was a lot that I, particularly around like the effects and stuff like that, you know, we already touched on that, you know, looking at it again now with a more critical eye, I was actually like more impressed with, especially like I liked the supporting cast around Bill Murray is kind of underrated, I think, because so much of the movie focuses on Bill Murray.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually two other things I want to bring up. I want to bring up Ernie Hudson as Winston. He is not in the marketing material. He was like not used on the posters, and he shows up like halfway through the movie. He was originally supposed to be in the entire movie, and it was supposed to be played by Eddie Murphy, but he dropped out to do Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting. And I almost like it kind of sucks that he wasn't involved in the marketing. I mean, obviously Ernie Hudson has kind of spoken out about that, but he's made peace with it, obviously, because it's brought him a lot of fame. But I don't know. I thought that was interesting too. He just kind of shows up. He should have been like, there was no need to have him like have the job, like apply for the job and get the job. But I don't know.
I think his character being like the new guy, that's not really involved at all in any of this stuff. Like, you know, she asks him like, "Do you believe in like," and like lists off like all these like random paranormal and like creatures and stuff, and he's like, "If you pay me, I'll believe whatever you tell me to."
Yeah.
Like, so I think having him being like the
bystander, if you will,
the skeptic, or the like, you know, the like, yeah, like he just like is in way over his head, you know. And I think it's a good like character addition to the crew, you know.
Yeah. Also, the last thing I want to bring up, and it's literally the beginning of the movie, which is ironic that I'm saying this now, but the old lady that finds the ghost in the library in the beginning, she's from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yeah.
She's Einhorn / Finkel's mom.
Yeah.
Oh, mini footballs. So, and I just watched a movie called Awakenings, and she's in it, and so it's kind of funny that I watched like 2 movies with her. I'm just like, oh, Ace Ventura mom. That's funny. So, I thought I'd bring that up because, again, it's always like watching these 80s movies, and then you watch a little bit more modern movies, or if you hadn't seen a particular 80s movie in a long time, and you're just like, oh shit, like I recognize that person. That's always fun. So
yeah.
I probably am a little harsh on it, but I need to rewatch it. I just didn't. I mean, I enjoyed it from my childhood. I owned it on at least DVD. I mean, I have it here on Blu-ray. Yeah, I'll have to give it another shot, and I was maybe tired. I mean, I watched it Monday, and yeah, I don't know. Controversial take. I just didn't. It was all right. Now, moving on to the Legacy sequel, which is a true Legacy sequel, Afterlife, from 2021. I never saw it in theaters. This was my first time watching it. It was your first time too? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
What'd you think?
I liked it. Being an actual fan of the original, this is like, I think Afterlife is the like prime example of how to do a Legacy sequel the right way without offending the people who like the original, but also doing something that's like a little bit different and a little bit, it, like, can stand on its own and bring a new like generation into this
Franchise.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And it has Paul Rudd, so
Yeah, Paul Rudd's awesome. So I didn't really care for it. There's parts of it I liked. The movie to me was just a little meh. I don't know. I wanted it to be good. There were parts I really liked, and I loved the whole thing. I loved the whole tribute to Harold Ramis, especially with him passing away.
Yeah.
Because he's great. And Phoebe, who's played by what's her name? McKenna Grace, I believe, is her name. Make sure on that. Yeah, McKenna Grace. She is so the one that plays Phoebe. She is fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
I've liked her in every movie she's been in for the most part.
Whoever plays Podcast is also a
Podcast
really
was
actor.
great. Yeah, Podcast was great. So they had well-written characters and like good actors playing them. I like Finn Wolfhard. He's good. Carrie Coon is good. Yeah, I mean, it's just a mediocre movie. It's not great. It's not bad. It was just mediocre for me. So the Afterlife was directed by Jason Reitman, who's Ivan Reitman's son, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He wrote and directed it, and so Ivan Reitman passed away just like right before the release of this movie. So it's also kind of a touching tribute to his dad, if you think about it too. He died shortly after the release of the movie, but this movie had a $75 million budget. It made $204 million worldwide, so it was a success. They spawned another sequel called Frozen Empire, which I don't think got the greatest reviews. I think it made a good amount of money, though. I'm going to double check and see what Frozen Empire did. But are you going to watch that next?
I might.
I think it's on Netflix right now, at least. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I did clearly I like this movie more than you did. Both of them. But yeah, I mean, I thought like some of the highlights to me were the way they treated the tone of the movie. I think was spot on. Like the opening sequence with obviously it's not actually Harold Ramis, but it's
Yes.
a stand-in for
Do
Spengler.
you know who it is?
No.
It's Bob Gunton, who is the warden from Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. So
But yeah, I mean the opening of the movie is actually very like horror movie-esque and like
yeah.
kind of intense. So I was a little worried that they were gonna like miss on the tone. But then as the movie actually like gets going, I think they nailed it. And they keep that like childlike, fantasy kind of sensibility. I like that they brought back the villain from the first one to make it like a full circle
Gozer.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Like it, and like we were just talking about Jurassic World versus Jurassic Park. I appreciate that Afterlife is not just a shot-for-shot remake, basically, of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot too. And like it actually gives the audience, I think, something more, you know, than just like a nostalgia bomb, you know, like, so I think that's why I like one like it so much, and why I think it's such a good example of how a legacy sequel should be handled.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think they did a good job with it. You know, while you're saying that, I was just thinking of like certain scenes in movies where nostalgia comes through, or like good parts and like the audience like cheers and like claps and stuff. That bothers the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I get it. Like, show your excitement for sure, and like that's, you know, as a filmmaker, that's awesome to hear that your audience is, you know, verbally is in showing enthusiasm and feedback. But like, I don't know, that shit is annoying to me. I'm just all negative today. I'm just all negative.
Well, my
like
wife is a movie talker. She talks through the whole movie and asks me questions about things that I'm watching for the first time right along with her. So I do prefer to watch movies in silence. Just, you know, me and the movie, and but yeah, I know you're kind of the same too.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. So that's why, like, theater going, like, I love seeing movies in the theater, but like lately it's just like something like theater. I had to. I guess I'll get on a personal level here. I remember like going to, you know, I'm a big music guy, and I liked going to music concerts and stuff, and I'd go to concerts and just be annoyed with people, like oh, why are they, like, these people are annoying, they're dancing, they're bumping into me, all this shit, and like I just was always annoyed by that, and then I just kind of got over that, and I was like, look, people are having fun, but if they're disrespectful, I'm gonna tell them they're disrespectful.
Yeah.
But like, you know, with movies, it's kind of been the same way, where it's like maybe I need to have that same attitude of like, I'm getting annoyed by people in theaters, but I guess they're just enjoying themselves. But like sometimes people don't shut the fuck up in movie theaters.
Yeah.
And now I was talking again, I'll bring up my friend Brandon. He was like saying like there was one dude behind us that was in the movie we just recently saw that was like just saying random things. And he was saying that in another movie he saw recently, the people were like trying to guess the lines and saying it out loud, like, what the like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Again, I guess I'm being mean, but also just like, you're in a movie theater. It's like,
yeah,
quiet.
well,
Like,
that's
we're all
like
trying to watch.
Yeah, I wanted to go see Nosferatu in theaters.
Same. I did not.
I did
But
not
I want
either.
to still see it. Did you watch it?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
I want to soon.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know. Like, part of me is just like, I don't want the experience ruined. You know, especially because I'm like really excited for that particular movie.
But that movie, I feel like, needs to be seen on the big screen with like awesome surround sound. But also, like, you know, a lot of times people have, you know, great, like, I know you have a good system in your basement.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, doing that and watching it in the dark, it's like I want to watch that in pitch black in my living room here with like my TV and my surround sound system. Like,
Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome. So.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't mind, like, you know, in Endgame when Captain America like picks up the hammer.
Yeah,
like, I remember like that. Everybody was like, "Yeah, like fuck yeah," and
That's
it's like, okay, like that's cool, you know.
Yeah,
but like when you know, like we don't need you yelling when, you know, fucking like I don't know. Like the Hulk has glasses on, be like, why'd you get fucking glasses? You know, or it's like something, you know, like there's like times where it's appropriate to be like, yeah, like this is a cool moment, you know, but like, yeah, when people are getting like fucking weird about like just like the movie overall, it's like, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just like, etiquette has gone downhill.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Again, we can get on a whole tangent of this. I do want to say one more theater going experience that was annoying as shit for me. I went and saw Top Gun Maverick in IMAX when it came out, which shout out to that Legacy sequel. That movie is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
There was a guy behind me that would not shut up, and he was, there was a scene where there's a fire extinguisher being used, and he was literally making these sound effects for the fire extinguisher.
Stupid.
You're not the only one in the theater, pal. And you can't. It almost is awkward to be like turn around and be like, "Yo, can you just be quiet, please?" I don't know. Like, I don't want to get. I'm in Arizona. Like, I don't want to get fucking shot.
Well, you also don't know if people are gonna turn on you and think that you're the asshole.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's another double-edged sword.
It is.
Again, we're getting on a tangent here. I wonder what people think about this episode and all of our things we're saying. But yeah, we'll get back to Afterlife. I like that Phoebe is like a carbon copy of Spangler. Like even her glasses and haircut's very similar. I like that, and I like that she is the one that finds everything, and she's the scientist, and she's the curious one, and again, her character is so well done and so well acted. I like her a lot. She's the best part of the movie, and that's the saving grace for me, pun intended, since her name's McKenna Grace. That's the saving grace for me that the movie's not a complete failure for me. I like there's a part where she's playing chess that the ghost knocks over the chessboard and she's playing chess. There's never any reference to that at all, but you assume it's Egon Spangler, the grandfather. And I like the whole her mom, played by Carrie Coon, doesn't care for the grandpa, and she's it's like, I don't know, it's she doesn't care for him, but yet she finds all the pictures that he was involved in her life, but he wasn't, and she forgives him because of that, I guess, even though he wasn't in her life. That was a little he still wasn't there. I mean, he cared, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, so that arc, I think, is a nice plot arc.
Touching.
Especially with the end, with his spirit
Ghost.
being there and reconciling and everything.
I did like that a lot.
Yeah. However, I think I tell my wife this all the time whenever it comes up in a movie or a TV show, daddy issues are I'm not interested in daddy issues as subplots at all. Especially this was so heavy-handed. It's almost every time the mom talks, she's shitting on her dad.
Yeah.
It's we get it. You don't need to keep hammering it, It's it would have been sufficient to say maybe 3 times in the whole movie, yeah, he was never there for us. Okay. That, got it. Check, And then find the pictures and be oh, he was actually keeping track all this time. Whatever, wrap it up and then everyone's happy, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know why there's just so much daddy issues in movies and TV shows. But that's just one of my pet peeves.
I know. Again, I should probably tangent here. Is there one recent other daddy issue thing, movie or TV show that you're ugh? Just curious if you can remember an example.
No, I mean Psych, but they actually do it well in Psych.
Which characters?
Sean and his dad.
I don't
You don't
remember.
like-
I haven't seen Psych in like probably 8 or 9 years.
No,
I'm like
Like,
rewatched.
Sean
I
and his
watched it
dad
since
have
then.
like a love-hate relationship, but like they do it like they're more like playful like with each other, you know, and like so it's not as like cringy in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
there's others we know.
Yeah, I
we-
can't think
yeah.
of one off the top of my
Yeah.
head, but like especially when they just like shoehorn it in for no reason, and it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, like yeah, all right. Whoever wrote this clearly like had something against their dad and just wanted to.
I like the Live Free or Die Hard. Lucy had daddy issues with John
Yeah.
McClane. Speaking of Die Hard,
Yeah.
and I thought they did it well in that.
Yeah, it can be done well, and then like,
Yeah.
but like there should be like meaningful reconciliation at the end.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's missing a lot of the time, which is why it bugs me
Yeah,
often.
yeah. So
yeah.
speaking of the photos on the wall of Carrie Coon, well, I feel like I'm blanking on her name right now. Carrie Coon, I said it right. There's a photo of 2 to 3 year old Callie dated 1983. So that means Callie was born in either 80 or 81. So Spangler had this daughter in secret prior to the first Ghostbusters, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, pretty interesting. And so that also clears up the air that Janine Melnitz, the receptionist,
mom.
was not the mom. Because I thought that. And then reading the trivia, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That she's not.
Because she like, I feel like if she was supposed to be the mom, they would have kept her in the movie.
Yeah, and she would
But
have
she
said
just does
something.
a really small cameo and then
Yeah.
disappears. So
I almost thought that in the beginning of the movie when I watched it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. So, and that's the cool thing is like the one thing I did like about this movie, again, we talked about it earlier, is the trailers. Like I didn't really remember the trailer from this movie. I mean, obviously rewatching it before this, it's like, oh yeah, now I like it rang a bell. I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that. But that's I liked the opening because I thought it was awesome. I was like, oh shit, like this is cool. And so I also had like not a ton of expectations going in besides it. You know, the only expectation I had was I didn't enjoy Ghostbusters this time.
just kind
So
of a foundational problem, but that's okay.
Yeah, so that also again changed my experience for this movie. But again, I mean, I give Ghostbusters from '84 like a 3 out of 5, which is like 6 out of 10. That's solid.
Yeah. Especially you're stingy with your ratings too, so
A little bit. Depends. Lately, I have been. I just haven't seen a lot of good shit lately, and I've been pissed.
yeah, I know.
Pissed. So, I don't know. I just think like I've been watching movies, and I'm like, yeah, it was solid. I haven't like loved anything new lately. It's been
Yeah.
hard. I don't know. It's been a tough cinema going experience for me lately.
Yeah.
And I want things to be awesome. I want them to be so good. But it's just like I go in and I'm just like, I'm disappointed a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I have too high of expectations. Maybe the trailer ruins it for me. I don't know.
Just
I gotta-
growing old.
growing
Everything
old and
sucks.
cynical. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. makes sense.
Newfangled rock and roll music and
Maybe maybe this podcast has ruined me a little. That I'm so like critique, forward and critical and mindful of everything.
yeah.
And that's okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that I'm like that. I like that I'm like that. I want to be wowed. I don't know. All these movies that are big budget that suck, and then you get the Oscar bait movies that are just boring as fuck and like overrated.
yeah.
It's just typical now. It's just annoying. There's nothing fun. We should have an episode where we just go through new movies and say what we think is going to be good or not. That'd be interesting. Yeah. More tangents. Sorry. I like, there's some plot holes in this movie a little bit where I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. Like, the kids get arrested. They're like 15. Like, they're juveniles. Like, they can't. That's not like, I don't know. That kind of bothered me a little bit. But then you've got the who you gonna call line, which I thought was cool. And it's like, it's that Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Where he's like, that meme. I love that meme. And she calls Dan Aykroyd, which is cool, I guess. You get the Walmart scene with Paul Rudd. Again, I love Paul Rudd. He's hilarious. I think he's great. He's okay in this movie. He's a little try-hardy in this movie. A little bit. But the scene, there's all the marshmallows coming alive, and then there's the grill in Walmart, which, why in the world does that have propane in it?
Yeah, my wife said that too. She's like, that wouldn't turn on.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Like, just let the marshmallow people cook themselves.
It's a
fucking
movie.
Move on.
Yeah. Now, speaking of them cooking themselves, there is a Terminator 2 reference there. One of the marshmallows gets burned and goes down with his thumbs up.
Oh, I missed
Arnold
that.
in the end. Yeah, I missed it too.
That's funny.
I missed it too, but then I read in the trivia that it was just saying, oh, it's a Terminator 2 reference. And again, that Jason Reitman's dad, Ivan Reitman, directed Arnold in like 4 movies.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he did Twins, Kindergarten Cop, Dave, which I've never seen. I didn't even know that was an Arnold movie. And Junior. Let me see Dave.
Yeah, I have no idea what Dave is.
Arnold's in that movie? He must have a cameo. Again, this is according to IMDb. Could be wrong. Let's see. Find Arnold. Oh, he is. He plays himself. So.
Oh,
okay. I've never seen that movie or heard of it. But Kindergarten Cop is awesome. I love that movie. You've seen that movie, right?
I think you made me watch it once.
I pulled a Clockwork Orange on you and fucking pulled your eyes back and
I
made
think
you watch.
we watched it at your house one time or something.
Probably.
In like high
it's
school.
so good. Yeah. I love that movie. Junior I haven't seen in a long time, so I can't speak to that. But I
Never
remember it
seen
being
that.
just meh. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger's pregnant. that's all I gotta say. The mom gets possessed. I thought that part was kind of stupid and funny. Like, she just jumps out of the fucking window, and I kind of laughed my ass off when she does that.
Oh, yeah.
There's some like goofy movements with like, even when they get possessed and they're like wave dancing. I mean, that even like they have that in the first one, and they wave dance and turn into the the like terror dogs.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. You've got Olivia Wilde as Gozer, which she's uncredited. I was watching the movie. I was like, is that Olivia Wilde?
Oh, it was? Huh.
Yeah. I looked up the credits. She's uncredited, which is hilarious. I was like, oh, no shit. Like, that is her. And then you've got J.K. Simmons as Ivo Shander.
Yeah.
He's in the movie for fucking 10 seconds and gets wrecked, which is completely pointless and random as fuck. I'm just like, why is he even in there? He plays a dead body. That was so dumb.
Well, it's like that. I don't know if it's actually true or not, but like that Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper in one of the new Star Wars movies. Sometimes these guys just want to be in the movie because they like the source material or whatever, you know.
Fair enough. I mean, like, I looked at reviews on Letterboxd and people are like, "What a complete waste of J.K. Simmons." Like, there's some funny reviews. But I think it's cool because Ivo Shander apparently is a worshipper of Gozer, who was a Sumerian god, and Ivo Shander founded Somerville, where the movie takes place. And the entire town is his attempt to recreate the ancient civilization in America. In other words, Somerville was built to be Sumerianville, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, he's also the architect of the building in the first movie, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Thank you. Yeah, and then you get the ghost of Spangler helping out his grandchild Phoebe, which is cool and touching, like you said. And then he reconciles with his daughter, which is nice, and Ghostbusters kind of talk to him a little bit. The only thing I was like, the traps are supposed to capture ghosts, and they capture all the ghosts but him, and he's a ghost.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
A little bit of a plot hole. But, yeah, it's fine. I get it, folks.
And he put him there, so he might know how to avoid him.
Fair. And I think the CGI ghost for him was super solid. Like, it was well done.
Yeah.
Especially for him being, not alive in real life. And, yeah, so So in the beginning, like I said, it's played by Bob Gunton, who is the Shawshank Redemption warden. And I think he's a great actor. He also played out Egan's scenes during the climax, except for the shot where he is revealed to be helping Phoebe studying the proton gun. He's actually played by Ivan Reitman at that point, the director. To make Egon look like Harold Ramis in the finale, his likeness was aged and recreated with computer generated imagery based on clips and photos from the first two movies. These images were then digitally pasted onto Gunton and Reitman's face. Special permission was obtained from Ramis's children to create the effect. They called the scene So Satisfying, so it had their blessing, which is super nice. Then you get two. Did you know that there are 2 end credit scenes in this movie? Or did you turn it off right away?
No, I saw one of them.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was, for sure.
There is... the first one is with Ernie Hudson and Winston. He's like, oh, I've got this empire now, and he basically goes and reopens the firehouse for the Ghostbusters.
Shit. No, I didn't.
I think... Okay, and then there's the
Amazon
scene...
pulled up the, you're done, screen before... shit.
Yeah, and there's, the ghost chamber with the red and green light on it is, pulsating. So it just says there's going to be a sequel, which obviously Frozen Empire there is. And then there's the sequence with Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray, and they're playing the shock game.
I saw that.
Okay.
That's what I saw, yeah.
Okay, cool. Again, maybe I'm harsh on these movies, and having the foundation of Ghostbusters and not caring for it made me not really enjoy this movie as much. I do want to watch Frozen Empire, and I probably will, so that'll say something.
Yeah.
I'll rewatch Ghostbusters, and I want to watch Ghostbusters 2, because I liked Ghostbusters 2 as a kid.
Yeah. But it's that one's 88.
Good question. It's
it's
late
definitely
80s, I think.
80s.
I'm pretty
so
sure.
we should do it on the show.
Let's see. '89.
Okay.
And Rick Moranis is awesome in that movie. The second one. He's probably my favorite part, and that's why I liked it, because I loved Rick Moranis. That's pretty much all the trivia I got on it. There was a lot of throwbacks when I was reading the trivia for Ghostbusters Afterlife that they did for the first Ghostbusters, like the Twinkie and a whole bunch of other stuff. I didn't write any of that down because I just didn't care. But yeah, It's good. I think from a legacy standpoint, like you said, it does it well. It's not super gimmicky. The whole Ecto one with the Ghostbusters card, that I love all of that. That was awesome in this.
Yeah.
Him driving through the field, Finn Wolfhard driving through the field, them driving through the town and destroying all of it, basically, or destroying a lot of it. There's fun sequences in this movie for sure. Yeah, it's good. What do we got next? Tron? Is Tron next or Tron?
Beetlejuice.
No, Beetlejuice. Yeah, Beetlejuice, and then Beetlejuice.
Said
I
it 3
recently
times.
watched. I know. I noticed, and I was thinking that when I posted it on Instagram, our schedule, I was like, oh shit, it's 3 times. I watched Beetlejuice recently-ish, and I'm excited to rewatch it because I like it.
Yeah, we watched it in October
Nice.
for Halloween.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, and I hear the sequel's surprisingly good. That's what I hear. Again, don't really remember the trailer, so that's good. So hopefully I don't have as harsh of a reaction to our next set of movies. I know Tron and Tron Legacy. I've seen Tron, and I'll hold my comments on that one. Again, I want to try and
Yeah.
because you haven't seen it. So, yeah, I'm glad we did these movies. I like this month so far. I enjoyed doing this episode. I like all our tangents we go on, and hopefully our listeners do as well. Yeah, anything else you want to add, Jake?
No. I'm excited for
Good.
the next 2 weeks too.
Right on. Well, yeah, guys, let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. You name it, we're pretty much there. So yeah, catch us in our next episode next week with Beetlejuice and its legacy sequel. I don't want to say it 3 times. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Yep. See ya.